started, you were with Mattel.
I was a toy guy.
And they're physical toys, like I say, Barbie,
right.
Hot Wheels. How do you make the transition to video games? Because it seems like going from Universal Studios, a piece of equipment there, to suddenly feature films. It's such a different world.
Well, the way it started, one of the inventors inside the company came in with a little box that looked something like this,
right.
and said, "Hey, we can do games, electronic games, in a handheld device." And we did handheld football, we did handheld racing, and that was the start of Mattel getting into what became the video game industry. And
right.
after that, they developed Intellivision to compete with Atari. Atari was a 4-bit system, and
right.
Television was an 8-bit system, to move up the food chain, if you will, to provide right. better graphics. But the graphics were still little blocks and pixels and dots that moved around. They were nothing like what we see here today.
I do remember how exciting it was to go from nothing to being able to play Pong or whatever, because you were like, oh, that's a tank, whatever, and it was shocking, that difference. Now, we walk by here, it's better than a movie. You feel like you're in the game itself. I mean, there's been that big leap, but that day one it must have been. Did you believe in it? Did you say that?
It was still so dramatically different. It was such an advancement of play that we had never seen anything like it before. I mean, think about playing Centipede on a television screen. It was so dramatic. You know, nothing like that existed before.
Right.
And so I fell in love with video games back in those days. So it was kind of a natural transition for me when I left Mattel to join Sega and become CEO of Sega.
Did you say that was the most fun in your career? I mean, you've done a bunch of amazing stuff already, you hate to say, because that, you know, I mean, it's like you don't want to retire.
No.
I bet you have enough money, but you want to keep doing new horizons.
Yeah. Well, the thing I love most about video games is that it's so engaging with kids. It's so, I hate to use the word addictive for kids,
right.
but that's what we need to do in education. We need to take the power of video games and make curriculum and content as interesting and fun as video games are.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
Do you feel that my industry, the television and film industry, has caught up with video games? Because there was a time when everybody laughed about, oh, they're making a video game about this movie. It's a little ancillary, dumb thing, and now it's like, oh, no, we care about that.
Oh yeah, well, when I started, the video game industry, of course, was very small, $1 billion, and the movie industry was at that time $20 billion.
Right.
Today, the video game industry is bigger than the movie industry. So now when people are making a movie, they're thinking about video games at the same time.
Right.
That never happened back in my day at Sega. I mean, we were, oh yeah, maybe we'll give you a license to do something off of this, but we really don't care about you video game guys that much. Now the video game industry is huge.
It's huge.
Gotta go fast.
I see a lot of young 20-something men here, and they come here. I'd like to figure out a way to get them also into movie theaters. You know, but this is like this is a crazy place. I mean, I know it's your world, it's your people, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
Well, I love coming here because it's so much fun for me. I mean, to see the differences between what we used to do and what they're doing now.
Right.
And we
you used to get no respect. Is that true?
That's very true. But we also were always breaking new ground. We tried to do VR, virtual reality, back in the mid-90s. And you put this headset on and you entered this virtual world. The only problem was when we were doing it, you got motion sickness. You literally, after 5 minutes, you'd be puking because it was too disturbing to your brain. Well, they figured out how to do that well now, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you'll have to get over there and see what they're doing.
I never made in the transition from consoles to handheld. I am now, obviously, because of my child. But you know, I see all this stuff. Brings back a lot of memories.
I love the handheld world.
Look at this thing.
This is you would use your hand to enter the game. And so your hand was the controlling what was going on in the game.
Oh my gosh.
It's a terrific technology.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing.
Well, and I have one of these in my home. a big arcade setup in my home basement. Well, I have like 1,000 games in my basement. I'm still playing.
I bet you do.
I love those things as well.
Oh my gosh. Do you have kids of your own?
Oh, I have 6 children.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they're so lucky. My dad just worked at a factory.
This was my baby.
Look at this.
This is Sega Genesis, 16-bit system. Compete with Nintendo. Nintendo had 98% of market share. We bring out 16-bit and take them on. And we're very competitive, very aggressive.
When was that? Was that early 90s?
1990.
Yeah, 1990, I remember
91, 92, yeah.
That was a big deal.
By 93, we passed them in share of market with this. And nobody thought it could happen. Nobody thought that we could dethrone Nintendo.
Right.
Well, and what that caused, forget about the Sega-Nintendo fight, it opened up the industry for others to enter. So Sony entered, and of course later Microsoft entered with platforms. And it also opened up a lot more third-party publishers to be able to bring their creativity to the industry.
So no one had a monopoly anymore.
Right.
You know, it went from Coke, Pepsi to all this other weird. Mountain Dew could be, you know, I'll explain, but that was big. You've had a lot of big moments in your career and in your life.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I've loved all of it, and
Have you really loved all of it?
I have. I mean, I love being at Mattel.
Yeah.
I love being at Sega. I love being at Leapfrog. I love the idea of using this technology to improve kids' lives.
How do you know when it's time to move on? Let's say you know, if I worked at Mattel, I would never leave. You know, I worked at a meatpacking plant for 3 years, and if I hadn't gotten fired, I would still be there. But how do you know when it's time to move on to the next? You know, how would you tell a young person, you've done what you can do, here's a new challenge?
Well, first of all, I don't think you should stay in one place forever in any case. I mean, I think it's good to be moving and doing new things. And for me personally, it was, when do you see the next challenge? And this was certainly a challenge. I mean, taking on this huge company was a huge challenge. And then taking on education and trying to make education fun and interesting, it's a huge challenge. It's difficult to do properly.
I think that might be your biggest challenge.
Yes.
And maybe that's why you're doing that. It's also your most important challenge. I mean, I speak as a father, you know. I know that if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.